This is the BM BM-Apollos, and it's really the top of the line in terms of price. It's $38.99. It's their only full suspension model that I'm aware of right now, and it's got some pretty sweet components. And so this is actually a 120 millimeter travel air fork in the front. That's more than any of their other models. They're like 100 is kind of the top in terms of travel, and it's a pretty sweet shock. It's RST first 32, so 32 sanctions. It's like the Float 32 from Fox or something, and it's got incremental, yeah, you can kind of hear it clicking all the way up to lockout, but just a little bit more, you know, how stiff you want that front fork to be. And then there's actually a rebound adjustment on this RockShox bar for the rear suspension. Because it's vertical, you know, I'm told it's supposed to reduce like bob as you're pedaling, but you know, being an electric bike, you're probably less concerned about you know, losing energy and efficiency that way, because of course you've got the motor. And the motor is pretty capable. This is the BBS-01 from 8Fun. It's rated at 350 watts nominal, but you know, there's actually a wattage reading on the display panel up there, and I've seen upwards of 600 watts, so it can peak with a lot of power, and it's got 18 amps going into it from this battery pack, 36 volt, 9 amp hour, and it uses Samsung cells, so this is, you know, pretty high quality stuff. The pack really just blends in. It keeps the weight low and center on this frame, and that's really the formula they've got going at BMEBikes. It's off-road capable, and they're really, you know, building these with existing frames and existing components and stuff, and they're, you know, fitting and optimizing that 8Fun drive system. Okay, so this is something you could do yourself, but it'd take a lot more screwing around, and you wouldn't get a 6-month warranty, which is what they kind of offer. So it's neat to see a not purpose-built, but purpose-assembled e-bike. And of course they do the flat black color. It looks really nice with all the cables and stuff, because they aren't integrated into the tubing like some other, you know, like the BH bikes or something like that. But you're I don't know, it's kind of neat. It's like a tinkerer sort of a company in a sense, but they've been doing this since like 2010, and so they've really got a handle on what they're doing, and they've been pretty successful, and they can customize stuff. So one of the things they've actually customized that's stock on this model, but it's an example of what they're capable of. This right here, it's a chainring adapter, and it's like custom CNC'd in North LA, or kind of in this area. They're located in Northridge, and so we're just outside of town here on these beautiful cliffs and doing some test rides. But it's neat that they kind of source locally and they assemble all their stuff locally. So using that chainring adapter, or spider, they're able to fit this race face NW sprocket right here, okay? And NW stands for like narrow wide. So some of the teeth, the one is narrow, the next one's wide, then narrow, and then wide. And that keeps the chain from slipping. So it's just upgrades all around. It's really kind of neat to see this stuff and get a better explanation, because I grew up mountain biking, but some of this stuff is new to me. So that's a really cool feature. The derailleur back here is Shimano Dior Shadow, and we've got a 9-speed cassette, right? So 9 speeds is decent for traveling around, a little bit of climbing ability, and also reaching decent top speeds. Of course, the front sprocket, there's only one, and they've left on this front derailleur here, and I think it just kind of acts as a chain guide. But again, they are taking like these frames and then fitting them with the electric drive systems. So I think that's kind of everything there in terms of what makes the bike go, except the pedals here. That's your job, kind of pushing down on those. We got the Welgo aluminum alloy platforms, really big, nice studs built in, black to match. Shouldn't surprise anyone, but once you're up to speed, you might be worried about stopping power, and this bike has you covered there pretty well. We've got the Avid Elixirs, hydraulic, nice brake levers here, real easy and fluid to activate if you're going down a big hill. You know, it doesn't take that arm strength, and it's just really, it's smooth, but they don't have motor inhibitor cutoffs. So when you activate that, if you're in pedal assist mode, the motor, it's not stopping quite as immediately on this 8Fun as something like the Bosch center drive system would, or like the Impulse 2. Those are measuring like hundreds, thousands of times per second. In the case of the Bosch, about 1,000, and it stops like really quickly. Whereas this one, you'll notice on the ride tests and stuff that as soon as I stop pedaling, it still kind of sort of winds down, and that means you might be coming up to the edge of a cliff like this, and thinking like, I need to stop, and you hit the brakes and the motor's still like, you know, and you don't want to go over. So that's one complaint that I have with the 8-fun system in general, but that's true of most of them. And they haven't put that motor inhibitor on, but it's something they could probably work with if you wanted that. And it's just worth calling out for safety considerations. I like the grips here. They've got lockers on them. It's like the only bike in their lineup that does have lockers, and it just keeps them from spinning, you know, if you're really bearing down on those. 160 millimeter discs on the front and rear, and of course quick release on the front and rear. And that's one of the huge advantages of a center drive electric bike. It just makes it easier to pack up into your car, easier to change a flat, swap tires, true a wheel. If you're at a shop or something, they're not going to be as intimidated by a bike like this if they're new to electric bikes, because for them this is it. It's all bike for this back half and for that front half. The electric stuff's all right there in the middle and really kind of independent. And the cool thing about it is it's built, and they chose specifically, you know, the frame and all these parts and sort of optimized them for this drive system. So if something really bad did happen, you know, a year or two down the line, your warranties run out, it's 6-month warranty, you could just pop another one of these motor kits on there and you'd be back in business, and maybe they could even help you with that or something. So that's pretty cool. Earlier I was weighing the battery. It's about 5.5 pounds. It's cool that it locks to the frame. You don't have to leave your keys in it or anything like that. And you can also charge it on the frame if you want instead of taking it off. But I find that if I have to lock my bike outside or whatever, I take the battery off because they don't do so well in extreme cold or extreme heat. I kind of baby my battery, and that would lighten this thing up a fair bit as well. So let's come up here and look at the cockpit. To activate this screen here, you just hold this power button for a couple seconds. This is a monochrome, just LCD system. It's pretty standard. It's not removable, unfortunately, and it can swivel, but it's kind of like tightened down. It's not like super soft. You could maybe loosen that if you felt like you wanted to reduce glare on your rides. Something I think about. And you know, at the top you've got miles per hour, speed. You got your battery with 5 levels there, and then you've got pedal assist. It comes set up with 3 levels of pedal assist, but you can actually go into the menu here by holding plus and minus, and you can adjust it to 5 levels of assist or 9 levels of assist. That doesn't mean you're getting more power. It just sort of breaks those increments down to finer proportions. So, you know, as you're riding, your steps are just smaller and you're getting slightly more power instead of going from 1 to 2 to 3. I mean, those are pretty big jumps. So, you know, maybe it's a way to be more efficient. And this is a really efficient system. I mean, I estimate, you know, like realistically 25, 35 miles here, depending on if you're relying on the throttle or if you're pedaling along. It really depends on how you ride and which gears you choose, because the motor directly benefits from the sprocket that you're in, the gear that you're in. I might actually want to weigh this while Tim's around. Hey, Tim. This is one of the founding members of BMEBIKES. How's it going? I'm good, man. So, you know, I bring like my little luggage scale, and I'm gonna have him hold the camera here and help me out a little bit. There you go. You just kind of point it this way, zero it out. Let's see here. So this one is like kind of a curved top tube. Hopefully we kind of keep it stable. There we go. 47.9. Yes. 47.9 pounds. So not too bad. Some of the, like your entry level Shadow was like around 45, 46. And this one only comes in the 20-inch frame size. So they're all going to be about that 47-pound mark, which is not too bad, you know, considering the suspension. I think the air fork probably helps up front. So anyway, finishing up with the display here, we've got the watts, so you can see how many watts are being put out, and then your trip distance right there. So it's a pretty decent system, and I like that they used a trigger throttle here because they're not compromising the grip on either side with a twist throttle. You know, you ride this like a bike, and there's no really compromises there. And the trigger is still really reachable. So is that display input tab there. So you can kind of like arrow up, get up to 3, and you're getting full power. It's a pretty neat system all around. You know, I've enjoyed riding these bikes, and I personally enjoy the full suspension bike because, you know, your back and neck can kind of get sore when you're riding off-road like this, or mine can, at least from years of biking around. So it's cool to get a little bit of support. So I'm excited about this one. You know, you're paying a little more, but you're getting a pretty cush ride. I'm just gonna go ahead and hop on and cruise around and get some neat shots. I'm gonna try to climb that little hill over there. I'm in pedal assist level 3. I'm in the first gear, so it's the easiest for the motor, but it's the slowest. Yeah. No problem. Yeah, we're climbing. I'm not pedaling at all. We're almost to the top of the hill. That's kind of a cool feeling. You know, again, I only weigh 135, 140 pounds, but you know, it's pretty neat. Okay, that's where we just came from over there. So you can see there's that little bit of delay I was talking about, and normally, you know, with a lot of bikes, you'll have those brake levers and you can just cut power to the motor instantly. And this one, you know, you've got the nice hydraulic brakes, but they don't have that motor inhibitor cut off, so that's sort of a question mark. It's like we're putting out 380, 400. You know, we're kind of bouncing around between 300 to 400 watts. So that's kind of, you know, 350 watt motor. There we go, 500, 600 watt output when I changed gears. That's the BMEBIKES BM-Apollos. It's pretty sweet. It's their full suspension offering. A little bit more expensive, but definitely a really cush ride. For the full review on this bike and other BME bikes, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com.